There he is.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing fine. So that's all right. Yeah, you're looking pretty square and center there. Light looks good. You
Good.
sound good. Am I sounding loud and clear and crisp?
Absolutely.
Okay, it's good. All right. So I'm gonna say a prayer here. Ask the Lord to bless it, and then if you could also email me that link that you sent to me here. Well, okay, let's see. Give link. Yeah, I like that. So could you email me that real fast? Is that accessible or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Because then I can put that in there.
And what's the gift note or gift indication, just so we know when we see it on our side?
It's fight the good fight.
Fight the good fight. Awesome. And you're going to be streaming this on your Facebook page?
Yes. So I'm going to stream mine, and then you're going to share it to yours, and then we're going to try to get as many people to share it as possible.
Yeah, I just texted a bunch of my friends.
Okay. Well, looks good. All right. You want to say the prayer?
Absolutely.
Okay.
God, thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity to share about your work, the work that you're doing through AIM. We love and appreciate you. I pray blessing over this time, over our conversation, over Brett and his family and his work, God. Thank you for this work and ministry that you've called him to. And we pray all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. All right, cool. So we've got, what email did you shoot that to? Let's see.
Capital Gains.
Okay, cool. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so I've got that. Okay, cool. So I got that link. Ready to go. Facebook. And we will also that's a good link right there. Okay. Perfect. You see, you already got 40 bucks. Somebody donated, which was cool.
That's awesome.
Good start before we even started.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got that. I got that. Okay, I'm going to share my screen here. And actually, keep closing this stuff down to make sure everything closes down properly. To keep maximum bandwidth. So what we're going to do is I'm going to play a song, and it's the For King and Country Priceless song, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also happens to be the theme song of my podcast too, which is kind of cool.
Love it.
And then we're going to just show I'll share a little bit of this one. Okay, so here, and first of all, let me share screen right there. Share that. Okay, can you see that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and then we've got Can you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Pause. Okay.
Now, are you going to want people to give on your Facebook page or just directly through AIM?
Whatever
Okay.
you think is best. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I'll let you mention that, but giving directly is always better because it just takes Facebook so long to get us the funds.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's up to 3 or 4 months. It's like, well, what are you doing with that money?
Right. They're making an interest, is what they're doing.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Mirror, mirror, mirror on the wall, telling those lies, pointing out your flaws. That isn't who you are. That isn't who you are. It might be hard to hear, but let me tell you, dear, if you could see what I could see, I know you would believe that isn't who you are. There's more to who you are. So when it's late, you're wide awake, too much to take. Don't shift and forget that in the pain, you can be brave in the safe. I see you dressed in white, every wrong made right. I see you rose and bloom at the sight of you. So priceless, irreplaceable, unmistakable, incomparable, darling, it's beautiful. I see it all in you. So priceless. No matter what you've heard, this is what you're worth. More than all the money or the diamonds and pearls. Oh, this is who you are. Yeah, this is who you are. So when it's late, you're wide awake, too much to take. Don't shift and forget that in the pain, you can be brave in the safe. I see you dressed in white, every wrong made right. I see you rose and bloom at the sight of you. So priceless, irreplaceable, unmistakable, incomparable, darling, it's beautiful. I see it all in you. So priceless. Sisters, we can start again. Give honor to the end, love. We can start again. Brothers, we can start again. Give honor to the end, yeah. We can start again. I see you dressed in white, every wrong made right. I see you rose and bloom at the sight of you. Irreplaceable, unmistakable, incomparable, darling, it's beautiful. I see it all in you. So priceless. Yeah.
Welcome, everybody, to a special edition of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, and where we are here with the special guests. I'm excited about the show, and we're going to be sharing about a cause that we believe in, and we want to introduce you for the first time if you've never heard of Agape International, and or if you're already a supporter. We want to encourage you to continue in what we call fighting the good fight for those that are sold into trafficking, women and children. And we are laser focused on this organization for and communicating everything that it stands for. So I'm so excited to welcome to this show, and he's a repeat guest, Matt Robertson. Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Doing great, Brett. Thank you so much for having me back on your show.
You might be on mute, Matt. I can't hear you. So hold on one second. Actually.
Can you hear me now?
I actually can. No, you're good. Actually, I had my volume down, so we're in great shape now. Yeah, Matt, how you doing?
Great. Thank you so much for having me back on the show, Brett.
Absolutely. So, would you give our listeners a little bit about your story, and then we'll dive into some of the current focus with Agape?
Absolutely. So I've been serving with Agape International Missions for almost 3 years now. Before that, I've had experience living and serving all over the world, working in the areas of community development and business development. Now I have the honor and pleasure of serving with AIM and also leading a team of a relational team. We work with churches and individuals and companies to help raise awareness and raise funds for our fight against trafficking. Really quick, we have a 4-pronged approach. We rescue girls out of sex trafficking. We have a SWAT team that goes in, kicks down the doors, rescues these girls and women, pulls them out of places that they're being held in bondage. And then we provide restoration and healing for them, jobs when they're old enough and ready to begin working. And then we also have a huge focus on prevention through church and education and schools and community programs. And so it's great to be back on your show to share a little bit about what's been happening this year with COVID and all that.
Absolutely. So rescue, restore, and then equipping with the jobs, and then the prevention. So it's the four-pronged approach, and it's originally based in Cambodia. Although I think the new news, maybe you're going to talk about it in a while, though it's going a little more worldwide, opening up a new location. And so, but before we go in there, Matt, I want to give our listeners a little bit more about yourself, right? And a little bit about your background before this, so they can get to know you a bit and really help them capture the passion for the moment where you said, you know what, I believe in Agape, not only for what they're doing, but hey, I'm going to go all in and join. So walk us through that, a little bit of that story, Matt. When did you first learn about Agape? And what was your story to go all in with them?
Yeah, so I first learned about AIM when I was on staff at Bayside Church. I was working on special projects with Bayside Church here in the Sacramento area. And one of the projects I was working on was Bayside's approach to fighting human trafficking. And I got to know AIM. I got to know our founders, Don and Bridget Brewster. And we put on a number of events for AIM. So I fell in love with the organization, fell in love with the team. But in 2016, I got to go and visit the work in Cambodia and see it firsthand. And I'll tell you, Brett, I've lived and served around the world. I've worked for a variety of different organizations, and there was just something about AIM, about the excellence of work, the professionalism, the transparency, the heart and passion of the people who serve for AIM, but then also the complete transformation that takes place with these girls and women that are sold into trafficking, that are enslaved, that are abused, raped, and just the most horrific things happen to them. This is an evil thing that is taking place in our world. To see them go through the process of healing and transformation and come out not only healed and transformed, but ready to be a part of the fight, to become abolitionists themselves, where now we have survivors that are serving with us in a variety of roles, teachers in our school, artisans making clothing and jewelry. When I saw that transformation that had taken place, that is taking place, not only in lives, but in communities. It just turned my heart. And I was like, man, I'm all in for this organization. I want to do what I can to help raise awareness, raise support for this organization.
Very well said. So it was that firsthand knowledge, boots on the ground,
Mhm.
going and serving on a trip to see it, you see the excellence of AIM and the amazing transformation and rescuing of children. And then now, which amazing, right? Now they become frontline boots on the ground to save others who are in that. Is that a fair summary, Matt?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing to see the journey of transformation that takes place when Christ gets a hold of not only a life but a community. It's amazing to see, and it's awesome to be a part of.
Beautiful. So now let's dive right into some of the what's going on currently, and walk us through, because 2020 is, let's face it, it's been the most challenging years that I can remember for basically the entire world, right? I mean, especially for organizations that are perhaps raising funds and
Mhm.
and perhaps even just the ever changing environment. So I want to let you take it away. Let's just start with what were some of the challenges when COVID-19 hit, and then
Mhm.
let's walk through kind of how AIM has been able to pivot and then give a call to action for folks who want to be a part of the mission here.
Absolutely. So, like the rest of the world, Cambodia shut down when COVID first happened, and tourism completely stopped, which has had a ripple effect on individuals and on the economy. I'll get into that in just a minute. But the country shut down. Now, the good side of all this is that because the country shut down so quickly, and they've been very strict on letting people back in, there's been less than 500 cases of COVID in Cambodia. And in fact, none of our staff in Cambodia, we have over 500 staff there now serving with AIM, none of them have got COVID. And so we praise God for that. We thank you for the protection over not only our staff, but of the country. And so that allowed us to keep serving, to continue to serve out in the community. When we realized that it had been locked down, it wasn't as much of an issue as in other places. Of course, our team went out as they were going out and serving. Of course, they were going out with masks and making sure that people were protected. But we continued to serve. We temporarily shut down a few of our programs. Our school temporarily shut down. It's getting ready to reopen this month. Our employment center, where we employ a lot of these survivors as artisans making clothing and jewelry, that temporarily shut down but reopened in a matter of a few months. But one of the things that we did as we shut down the school, the teachers began going out into the community, delivering resource packets, delivering supplies to students, assignments, checking in on them, seeing how they were doing, because online learning just isn't an option for most of the children in Cambodia. One, they don't have computers and laptops, and two, there's just no Wi-Fi in the villages and places where we serve. And so the teachers were literally going out and serving, delivering those resource packets and assignments, holding little village classrooms wherever they could out in the villages. But as they were going out, they discovered a huge humanitarian crisis. So because tourism shut down, because people weren't going into the country and visiting, for example, up in the northern part of Cambodia, in the town of Siem Reap, where they have the famous temples of Angkor Wat, they'll normally receive about 1 million visitors a year. Through August, September, I think they'd seen about 10,000 visitors total. So the economy just collapsed, tourism shut down. People didn't have food, because in those contexts, people will buy food today with the money that they made yesterday. And so if they're not making money, they're not able to feed themselves. And so we saw that children were at risk of being sold just for food. So we intervened, we jumped in, we started delivering humanitarian aid, pivoting some of our staff and some of our programs temporarily to focus on delivering humanitarian aid. And we were able to raise some extra funds for that to be able to deliver additional aid. The government came to us at one point, and we were able to provide food to the government, but then through our programs, distribute aid out in the community, working with local farmers, So we were able to support them as well with rice, buying rice and eggs and other things like that, providing protein. But we were able to reach about 5 to 6,000 people in addition to our normal programs, people that we may not have come in contact with by just through our normal outreach. But this really helped us to extend the reach of our program, extend the reach of our message, share more about our anti-trafficking work and trying to prevent kids from being trafficked. We know that we were able to intercept kids that were being sold for food, and also just share the love of Christ. And so that was really the first wave of our COVID response that took place over the summer.
Great. So let me see if I can encapsulate some of that. So literally 24 hours, some folks that are earning today and that's what they're buying tomorrow for their food. And so when the economy shuts down overnight from 1 million tourists down to about, say, 10,000 for that particular area of Cambodia, you're looking at overnight collapse. It's not like, here in the US where we have, let's say, credit or credit cards or ways that we can, mortgage something or lend. It is dire straits. And so you guys saw that humanitarian part. And then the problem with that obviously is now folks run out of money and now they're tempted or challenged to sell their own kids into trafficking, right? Just to pay for the basic needs. So really kind of, really hard to understand unless you're there and you're seeing it and you're a part of that community, which Agape, how many years now in
Yes, we've been in
Cambodia?
Cambodia just over 15 years now.
15 years. And so take us to the moment when you guys said, okay, we've got to pivot and we've got to now start, getting the food out and doing the humanitarian work there. And what was the response and how did that all
Yeah,
work out?
so again, being out in the community, visiting families, teachers delivering those supplies, those resource packets, assignments to kids, holding those village classrooms, we were really front lines. We were seeing what was going on. We were seeing the crisis. We were seeing the need, and began to, as quickly as possible, pivot and remobilize some of our staff to deliver aid to those families. And we just saw an incredible response, not only being able to take it out to the families, like I said, the government coming to us for help, but also people coming, to us, to our programs to learn more about us, to find out more about why we were doing this. They wanted to know more. They were curious, and we were able to not only share what they needed, share supplies, but also just share the love of Christ and share more about why we're there and why we're doing what we're doing.
Excellent. So now moving forward, now it's not we're post COVID, but we're, a lot of the pivoting has happened. What is the most immediate need, and what is the vision for being as effective as you can be with the resources that folks are given on the ground?
Great question. So one of the other factors about this is that trafficking hasn't slowed down. Again, there were situations where we were able to intercept and help prevent kids from being sold or trafficked just for food. But unfortunately, the normal activity of trafficking that's been happening in through bars and brothels, massage parlors, karaoke lounges, that is still happening. Some foreigners are still getting into the country, but even Cambodians themselves and other foreigners that live there in Cambodia.
Walk us through a raid, Matt, just so folks can understand what that looks like. So, give us A to Z of due diligence, of planning, of government, either blessing or cooperation, or walk us through that.
So we have as I mentioned, we have a SWAT team that is focused on this. There's 4 components of our SWAT team. There's an investigative team. There's the actual rescue raid team itself. There's the social workers that are there to put their arms around and comfort these girls as they're being, rescued. And then there's a legal team that follows up on every case to prosecute the traffickers, to make sure the girls receive the legal representation that they might need. But to go back to the very beginning, the investigative part, we're always investigating situations of trafficking. We're getting leads. We have confidential informants that are giving us information. So we're constantly receiving information Um, our SWAT team is responsible for anywhere from 70 to 80% of the raids and rescues that take place in Cambodia. So because we've been there 15 years, because we have boots on the ground, and we have a good reputation with the government, we're constantly receiving intel. And so the intel that we're receiving is that trafficking isn't slowing down, that children are still being trafficked. And so our SWAT team has been as active as ever. We've already rescued this year so far close to 100 girls, and unfortunately some of them as young as 4 and 5 years old. And so we know that it's continuing, and so we need more capacity for these girls that are being rescued. Our current restoration home is full, and that's a place where they receive love and care and therapy and counseling, support, and job skills training when they're old enough, when they're ready to begin transitioning or reintegrating back into society. That restoration home is full. And so we're in the process right now, this month, of opening a new transitional home, a place where older girls that are ready to begin their transition, reintegration back into society, where they can go, where they can still be in a loving, caring environment, still be house moms and social workers there, but they can also come and go more easily to jobs and things like that. By moving those older girls into the transitional home, we'll be able to free up space to rescue more girls that we can put into our restoration home. And so right now, the call to action is help us go out and rescue these girls. We know where they are.
So
And
let's break that down. So
yeah.
what is the cost, Matt, for you said 100 girls this year. So on average, do we know what the cost is for the rescue, the restoration, the job training, and then prevention? What does that look like for an average child?
Yeah, so we know that from the time of rescue to the restoration, which normally takes about a year to a year and a half, and we never put a time limit on that. Each girl's journey is unique, but on average, it's about a year to a year and a half. To them beginning job skills training and employment, that 2-year journey costs us about $23,000 for each of those girls' lives. Those lives that are transformed, that are girls that are ready to now go out and be abolitionists to join the fight. So that total journey costs us about $23,000 per girl. Excellent.
Yeah, and the song in the beginning by For King and Country, Priceless, right? That it's priceless what that 23,000 is for a child who's going through the unimaginable. So now the vision is this: you're at capacity for the current home, and now it's, hey, how do we get a second one for those who are kind of graduating or starting to move on? Is that a fair summary on the second part?
Exactly. Yeah. So we'll be able to again move these older girls over, open this new transitional home this month, and have that space. And the beautiful thing is that through a church partner and some other donors, the operational costs for that transition home are already covered for 2 years. So now all we need to do is raise the money to go out and rescue these girls and provide that restorative care. So the operational cost is covered. Now it's that human element that we need to support for. And again, we know where these girls are. We've been doing that intel. We have the information, and a lot of times we know where not only do we know where they are, but we know these girls' names. We just need to help to go out and rescue them.
Excellent. I mean, amazing. And so I want to dive in a little bit too with just how what I can speak to. First of all, is the opportunity to be able to support Agape for years now, and also being member of Bayside Church and all of the giving and all the amazing stuff they're doing. And so the backing of big, let's call it charitable organizations that support you guys, but also there's a third parties that look at different organizations and they're going to find out, are you A, being transparent, B, being good stewards with the funds you've been given, and basically you're running a well-oiled machine to go out and make a huge difference. And so talk about just a little bit of, the ratings and the transparency that you guys have and how you guys been able to rank as it compares to other charitable giving places.
Yeah, thank you, Brett, for bringing that up. So this year, we received a gold seal from GuideStar, gold seal of transparency. But in addition to that, we received a 4 out of 4 star rating from Charity Navigator. And a part of that is that we received 100 out of 100 score for financial accountability. And our understanding is that only about 1% of charities around the world uh, actually ever receive that 100 out of 100 and that 4 star charity rating. And that 4 star charity rating this is actually the 5th year in a row that we've received that. And so, and it's very important for us. The financial accountability and transparency was something that I saw from the outside when I was watching AIM from the outside when I was working at Bayside Church. But now that I'm a part of it, I can speak to it personally, how important this is to us. Approximately 89% of every dollar goes to programs, goes to the field, which is again a very remarkable statistic. Just under 90% of that money is going straight to the field, straight to the programs, and that's really
Amazing.
remarkable.
Amazing. And also, I want to touch on the for folks that maybe aren't Christians, aren't believers, and they're still very charitable and they want to give and believe in causes like this. Would you also connect the Cambodian government, right, and the way that you've been able to partner, or I don't know if that's the right word, right, but walk us through just that connection, because I think that's pretty remarkable, given how challenging these things can be with full SWAT teams. I mean, all decked out and
Mhm.
the assault rifles going in, busting through doors, and having these
Yeah.
teams do that. So walk us through that relationship a bit, and connect that for those that maybe aren't churchgoers.
Yeah, so we have a great relationship with the government. Again, we've been there 15 years and we've established a great reputation, such to the fact that we are given that license, that free license to have the SWAT team to go in and execute raids and rescues. A part of the work of the SWAT team, that investigative team and the legal team, is to obtain a legal court order to perform the raid. So we go before a judge, we present the evidence, we get a court order to go in. As soon as we get that court order, we're ready to go. The team is mobilized so that there isn't any case of a tip off. And so we go in, we do the raid, we gather evidence so that we can then prosecute the traffickers. So in addition to rescuing almost 1,600 girls now since we launched the SWAT team 5 years ago, just over 1,600, or just over 1,500, almost 1,600 rescued. We've prosecuted close to 400 traffickers as part of that, which is a very important part of that legal process. 15 years ago, that wasn't the case. There wasn't enforcement. There wasn't a SWAT team. There was a very ineffective enforcement and legal system around this. It's completely changed in 15 years. We're seeing now enforcement, obviously arrests, and prosecution. That's another important part, is these traffickers are being prosecuted and being sent to prison for a very long time, which obviously requires the full support of the government and legal system behind that.
Beautiful, transformational, amazing. And now is an opportunity to see how we can help you, Matt.
Mm.
So how can we help you, and how can we help Agape continue to fight the good fight, and continue this transformation for Cambodia? And as well, also mention the new location, which I believe is opening up, or maybe already has.
Yeah, that's right. So we are in the process of expanding to the country of Belize. We have a ton of connections there, partners that we will be working with on the ground to bring a holistic model. There's some great organizations that are doing some great work down there. But one of the things that we realize is that there isn't yet an organization, or isn't yet a holistic approach. And when I say that, I mean the full 4 elements that we work on: the rescue, the restoration, the reintegration or empowerment, and then the prevention. Again, there's some organizations that are doing some great work down there in some of those different areas. But for example, there isn't a SWAT team. There is an anti-trafficking task force, but unfortunately they are severely under-resourced. And so they are welcoming our support and our help. Our first step, though, as we go into the country, we'll be going in January. We have a couple that's going to be leading our work down there. So as we go into the country in January, our first step will be to open up a restoration home. There isn't a facility, a place right now where girls that are rescued or girls that get out, self-assisted rescue, as we call it, girls that can get out, there isn't a safe place for them to go. And so our first step, our first approach will be to open up a restoration home for 24 girls in the country. And then we will begin to build out or partner with organizations to ensure that there is a holistic model and a holistic approach to fighting human trafficking down there.
Fantastic. And so let's walk through now the ways people can give, right? Not just financially, but perhaps one way would be to actually serve, right? Be boots on the ground and go and serve. What does that look like? And then talk about the other options as well. And then we'll, and then also talk about the matching gift, right? We have to do a matching gift to help folks, motivate folks and encourage folks to join. So go ahead.
Yeah,
Take it away, Matt.
you can give right now on our website. It's aimfree.org/give. And if you want to put a note in there, Fight the Good Fight, we'll know that that has been generated because of Brett and this podcast. So again, aimfree.org/give, and then just put a note in there, Fight the Good Fight. Every gift that you indicate for Fight the Good Fight will go towards the rescue and restoration and empowerment of these new girls that we're going to be able to go out and rescue, because we have this new transition home and we have this capacity for the first time. You mentioned serving with us, and unfortunately, because of COVID, we did have to cancel or postpone any teams that we had scheduled for this year. But we look forward to the day when we can begin to welcome teams back to Cambodia. We have a number of teams that are already beginning to sign up for the spring and summer of next year. And there's more information about that on our website. Again, aimfree.org. There's information about serving, about going to Cambodia to see our program and learn more about it. And just like me, that was part of my journey. Going and seeing it and experiencing it was life-changing for me. And I know that it will be life-changing for anyone that is able to go and see and serve and join us there. Boots on the ground in Cambodia. Can't wait to welcome you there.
And by the way, I mean, from all over. I was at a recent AIM family gathering before COVID, and there was folks from all across the U.S. I mean, so talk about a little bit of the support and the relationships you developed in, I don't know how many states now, maybe all of them, but touch on that.
We actually have support from all over the world. So in addition to most of the U.S. states, I think there's maybe one or two yet. We're still working on that, but most of the U.S., but certainly all over the world. We have over 20 countries now that are supporting our work. And many of those are not only supporting our work, but also sending teams. We have teams from all over the world that go to visit us in Cambodia and serve with us. So it truly is an international organization from the support side, but also now that we're expanding into Belize, beyond Cambodia, we're really seeing the international dynamics of this play out, and it's really exciting to be a part of.
Amazing. And just so if you're curious, where the headquarters, right? Headquarters are in Northern California, Roseville, Rockland. I think Rockland was the new site, or Roseville.
Yeah.
Or where's that, Matt?
Roseville, California.
Roseville.
Yes.
What's where Matt and I live, and so we were like boots on the ground too for local here. Right. So that being said, we want to encourage you right now to take action. Okay, so I want to remind you of that website, and also there's a $2,000 matching gift so far that we've been able to raise, and so for every dollar up to $2,000, we already have a match. Our last goal. That was about, 4 or 5 months ago. We did the first one of these events online here at Capital Gains Tax Solutions. We were able to match and exceed, which was $1,000, and that was really neat. And so our hope and our prayer is to double that. So would you be a part of that vision? And then we'll see how long we can keep this rally going, and perhaps have another event in the near future. And then that one would be 4,000. That's kind of the goal. So we want to get to 2,000. So would you consider giving? It could be $10. It could be $50. It could be $1,000. It could be 2,000. Whatever it is, would you consider giving a little bit, being a part of the fight? You can see the link in the comments below. There's also a link above that says donate. That's the Facebook one. That's cool too. But the thing is, it takes a little while for Facebook to process that. So if you could actually go directly to Agape's website, and you'll see that in the comments below here, and that'll give AIM the chance to get that interest going right away and get the money working for them, versus it being a little bit delayed. It could take 3-4 weeks with Facebook. So that being said, Matt, any last comments or thoughts for the listeners?
Just appreciate the opportunity to come on again. Come on your show again, Brett. Appreciate the support. And yeah, this fight is going on. Despite COVID, trafficking hasn't slowed down. We haven't slowed down. We don't intend to. And so with your support, we're going to be able to go out and rescue these girls and provide them care and love and support, and see that transition happen and see them become abolitionists that will one day join the fight as well. And this all happens because of guys like you, Brett, and your support and your listeners. And so we can't thank you enough for what you're doing and for how you're rallying around us during this time. So thank you.
You're welcome, and it's more than a pleasure. It's a calling, it's a mission, and I'm in it for the long run. So I appreciate you, Matt, and I appreciate the leadership at Agape, and I appreciate the vision. And I can't wait to be able to take my family and go and serve, boots on the ground, and be a part of the fight right there on the ground. So with that, everybody, we also appreciate you sharing and commenting and liking anything that helps to help boost this production would be much appreciated. So you can share that on your profile. You can comment. You can pray for Agape, right? Even if you can't give, prayers mean the world to all of us. So please pray, spread awareness, give if you can. And with that, we wish everybody well on the rest of 2019. Oh, sorry, 2020. Wow. And that's it. So thank you, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.